The stadium was already buzzing long before kickoff. Fans from both sides filled the stands, flags waving, chants echoing, and the atmosphere felt like something special was about to unfold. On one side, the United States came in with confidence after a strong group stage run. On the other, Australia arrived with determination, knowing that a single result could change their entire World Cup journey. From the first whistle, the intensity was clear. USA looked sharp, pressing high and trying to control possession early. Australia responded with discipline, staying compact and waiting for opportunities to counterattack. For the first 10 minutes, it was a tactical battle more than anything else, both teams studying each other, probing for weaknesses, but refusing to take unnecessary risks. As the game settled, the United States began to take control in midfield. Their passing became faster, cleaner, and more direct. Australia struggled to break the press, often forced into long balls that were comfortably handled by the American defense. Every time USA won the ball back, they looked dangerous, pushing forward with pace on the wings and creating early pressure in the final third. The breakthrough came in a moment Australia will want to forget. A dangerous attack from the left side saw a low cross driven into the box. Under pressure and trying to clear the danger, an Australian defender made a split-second mistake and the ball deflected into his own net. For a moment, silence hit the Australian fans while the USA bench erupted in celebration. It was an unfortunate own goal, but in World Cup football, these moments often define entire matches. After going behind, Australia tried to respond immediately. They pushed higher up the pitch, increasing their intensity and attempting to disrupt USA's rhythm. A few promising runs down the right flank created half chances, but the final pass was missing. The American defense stayed calm, organized and physically strong, not allowing Australia the space they needed in dangerous areas. USA, meanwhile, looked confident after taking the lead. Instead of sitting back, they continued to attack smartly, looking for a second goal to kill the game early. Their midfield controlled the tempo, switching play quickly and stretching the Australian defense. Every attack looked like it could turn into something dangerous. The pressure finally paid off again. From a well-delivered set piece into the box, USA found their second goal. A perfectly timed header flew past the goalkeeper, doubling their lead and putting Australia in a very difficult position. The execution was simple but effective, exactly what top-level teams do in high-pressure World Cup matches. By this point, the momentum was fully with the United States. Australia's confidence had taken a hit, and their attacks became more desperate rather than structured. USA dropped slightly deeper, but remained in control, closing down spaces and forcing Australia into mistakes whenever they tried to build forward. As the first half moved toward its conclusion, USA managed the game intelligently. They didn't rush, didn't panic, and didn't give Australia any easy openings. Every pass had purpose, every defensive action was focused, and every moment showed a team that understood exactly what was at stake. When the halftime whistle approached, the scoreline reflected the reality on the pitch. The United States were in control, Australia were chasing the game, and the pressure was only going to increase from here. The second half began with Australia showing more urgency. They knew the situation required quick action, so they pushed higher up the pitch right from the restart. Their midfielders stepped forward aggressively, trying to win the ball earlier and disrupt the USA's rhythm. For a few minutes, it looked like Australia might be able to create momentum and shift the pressure. However, the United States were prepared for this response. Instead of panicking under pressure, they stayed compact and disciplined. The defensive line held its shape, while the midfield tracked back effectively to block passing lanes. Every Australian attempt to break through was met with a wall of organized defending. USA were not just protecting their lead, they were controlling how Australia could even attempt to attack. Australia tried to switch their approach, using wider play and quick crosses into the box. A couple of dangerous balls did come in, but the American centre-backs dealt with them confidently. The goalkeeper remained alert, coming off his line when needed and calming the defense whenever Australia tried to increase the tempo. Still, despite their effort, Australia struggled to find a clear, clean chance in the final third. As the match progressed, USA began to regain control of possession. They slowed the game down when needed and accelerated when space opened up. This balance made it extremely difficult for Australia to settle into any consistent rhythm. Every time Australia thought they were building pressure, USA would break it with a sharp interception or a quick transition forward. Midfield became the key battleground. The United States showed excellent awareness, winning second balls and maintaining composure under pressure. Their passing was simple but effective, avoiding unnecessary risks while still keeping Australia chasing shadows. This control in the centre of the pitch ensured that Australia could never fully dominate any phase of the game. Australia's frustration started to show. As time passed, their attacks became more direct and less structured. Long-range shots, hopeful crosses, and rushed passes became more frequent. While their effort never dropped, the clarity in their game plan began to fade under pressure. The USA defense, meanwhile, remained calm and focused, absorbing everything thrown at them. The United States also showed maturity in how they managed transitions. Instead of rushing forward blindly, they picked the right moments to counterattack. A few quick breaks created danger, forcing Australia to stay cautious even while chasing the game. This prevented Australia from committing too many players forward at once, which further limited their attacking options. By the final stages of the second half, the match had settled into a controlled pattern. USA were not chasing goals anymore, they were protecting their lead with intelligence. Australia was still fighting, still pushing, but the gaps they needed were simply not opening. Every minute that passed made the task more difficult for them. As the clock continued to run down, it became clear that the United States had complete control of the situation. Their discipline, structure, and game management were the difference. Australia's effort was strong, but they lacked the final breakthrough moment needed to change the outcome. The pressure of the World Cup stage was evident, and USA handled it better in every department. They stayed calm when it mattered, executed their plan efficiently, and never allowed the match to slip away from their control. In the final phase of the match, the atmosphere inside the stadium shifted into pure tension. Every pass, every tackle, and every second started to feel heavier. Australia knew there was no more time for patience. They had to take risks. The United States, on the other hand, focused on control, discipline, and protecting what they had already built. Australia threw everything forward. Their fullbacks pushed higher, midfielders started playing almost entirely in the attacking half, and the forwards positioned themselves closer to the American defensive line. It was all or nothing now. Long balls started coming into the box with increasing frequency, hoping for a mistake, a deflection, or a moment of chaos that could bring them back into the game. But the USA defense stood firm. Every aerial ball was attacked with confidence. Every loose pass was recovered quickly. The defenders communicated constantly, keeping the shape tight and compact. There was no panic, no rushed decisions, just calm and calculated defending under pressure. The goalkeeper also played a crucial role, timing his movements perfectly and removing danger before it could develop into real chances. As Australia pushed harder, spaces began to open, but not for them. The United States started finding opportunities on the counter-attack. With Australia committing more players forward, every turnover of possession became a potential threat. A few times, USA broke quickly through midfield, using pace and direct passing to move into dangerous areas. Although they didn't always convert these chances, they sent a clear message: pushing too high against them could be costly. The match slowly turned into a battle of mentality. Australia were fighting with desperation, trying to force something to happen through sheer effort. USA were playing with control and awareness, trusting their structure and sticking to their plan. This difference became more and more visible as the clock moved forward. In one of Australia's better late moments, they managed to create space on the right side and delivered a strong cross into the box. For a brief second, it looked dangerous. The ball dropped inside the penalty area with multiple players attacking it. But once again, the American defense reacted first. A crucial clearance removed the danger, and the rebound was quickly controlled and cleared away from the pressure zone. That moment summed up Australia's night: so close, but never quite precise enough when it mattered most. USA continued to show maturity in managing the game. Instead of simply kicking the ball away, they maintained possession whenever possible. They slowed the tempo down, forced Australia to chase, and made sure the rhythm of the game stayed in their control. Even when under pressure, they avoided unnecessary fouls or risky challenges that could have given Australia a lifeline through set pieces. As the final 10 minutes approached, frustration became even more visible in the Australian side. Players were trying individual efforts, shooting from distance and attempting difficult passes that were not part of their earlier structure. The urgency was understandable, but it also made their attacks easier to defend against. USA read the game perfectly, intercepting passes and cutting out attacks before they could become dangerous. Every minute that passed brought the United States closer to their goal. The crowd began to sense it too. USA fans grew louder with every defensive stop, every cleared ball, and every successful transition into possession. The energy shifted entirely towards celebration, while Australia continued to fight against the inevitable. In the dying moments of the match, USA focused entirely on game management. The ball stayed in safe areas, possession was recycled smartly, and the tempo was reduced to avoid any late drama. Australia pushed one last time, sending numbers forward in a final attempt, but the American backline held its shape one final time, blocking the final route to goal. When the referee finally looked at his watch and blew the final whistle, the stadium erupted. The United States had done it, a 2-0 victory, earned through discipline, structure, and clinical execution at key moments. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement performance on the World Cup stage. Players from the USA embraced each other, knowing what this result meant. Qualification for the round of 32 was secured, and with it came confidence, momentum, and belief that they could go even further in the tournament. The coach's strategy had worked perfectly. Take the lead, stay organized, control the game, and never allow chaos to take over. For Australia, it was a painful ending. They had shown effort, energy, and moments of promise, but lacked the finishing quality and composure needed at this level. Small mistakes had cost them early, and from there, the game became an uphill battle they could not overcome. Still, their fighting spirit remained visible until the last second, even if the result did not go their way. As players walked off the pitch, one team left with celebration and relief, the other with disappointment and reflection. That is the reality of World Cup football: fine margins, big moments, and the ability to execute when it matters most. And as the lights dimmed over the stadium, one thing was clear: the United States had announced themselves in this tournament. Calm, controlled, and confident, they now moved forward into the knockout stage, carrying belief that their journey was far from over.